Hello, everybody. Chris Samardage, Brotherhood of Light Show, current channel, YouTube channel. And this week we're going to have a bunch of vintage Grateful Dead photographs from 1965 through the early 70s. And I've run into a bunch of them on the internet, a bunch by Ron Rakow, some color stuff. So let's get on with the show. So here's our opening shot. We got vintage Grateful Dead from 1965 to 1969. We have a tribute to Bill Ham, 1966 to 1968, who just passed away this last month. And he's one of the pioneers of the San Francisco psychedelic liquid light shows, so I want to get him on the show. And this top picture is the Jefferson Airplane, Quicksilver, Grateful Dead, and the Charlatans at the Panhandle in Golden Gate Park. And to the right is Pigpen, taken at 710 Haight-Ashbury, and the left is the Grateful Dead at 710. And we also are featuring photos by Rosie McGee on this show, and that is taken at the Human Being. So let's get on with the next page. So what I'm doing is I'm doing it by location, where the Grateful Dead were in 1965, for instance. So they were in Palo Alto on this slide. And there they are playing as the Warlocks, and then the Grateful Dead. And there's an early picture of them. And they're pointing to Stanley Osley, the bear, they called him. And he was kind of sponsoring the band at this point. I don't know if he was just independently wealthy or he was doing it through his manufacturing of LSD, which was legal at the time. And he was kind of buying them equipment and helping them along. And they went down to LA together, where he was doing a lot of manufacturing down there. And they rehearsed and then went back to San Francisco in 1966. So they left LA, kind of unsuccessful of gigging down there. They moved back to San Francisco or the Bay Area in '66, and they were staying at Olin Poly, which is a big kind of ranch farmhouse up in Novato, California, in Marin County. And they also played early that year at the Trips Festival in 1966 at the Longshoremen's Hall. There they are up on the right, and here they are playing at Olin Poly. And the next move was to go back to San Francisco. Okay, so we got Grateful Dead, 710 Ashbury. That's the house they rented in 1967. And they moved there, and it was they walked down the street and hit the cross street of Haight and Ashbury, and there's Phil Lesh and Jerry Garcia. There they are inside the house, kind of goofing around. The original Grateful Dead band with the 5 members. And there's Pigpen sitting there looking kind of like a mean-ass biker. So the Grateful Dead at the Human Being in Golden Gate Park at the Polo Field. So early in 1967, they decided to put on this event with all the other people from the Haight-Ashbury, other bands, other, the Oracle newspaper and psychedelic shop, and they got together and decided to play and put on this event. And I guess they had the permits for it. Now, they had no idea how many people were going to show up, but as the story goes, from Dickie Peterson and Blue Cheer, who played there, and Bill Kreutzmann, they're walking through Speedway Meadows, which is kind of a lower area, and they go up around the rim of the polo field. And when they arrive over the rim, they see this view of like 30,000 freaks, which was the first time rock concert or a event was assembled like this. And so this was a major breakthrough event that happened, and Osley was there handing out his White Lightning, and the next one is going to be the Gathering of the Tribe. So the event had 2 titles. It was called gathering of the tribe and the human being, which you can see in this center picture. And there, the psychedelic purple pyramid-looking picture was the cover of the Oracle, which was a newspaper. And these are shots by Rosie McGee, and there's Timothy Leary, and these are color. And so there was also a spiritual aspect and speakers, and then live music with Grateful Dead, Blue Cheer, Quicksilver, and the Jefferson Airplane. So it was a big event that kind of launched the whole hippie movement. So here's my tribute to Bill Ham. Now, he was in his 90s when he passed away. And Bill Ham, tribute to Bill Ham, Lights by Bill Ham, 66, 68. Now there he is in the middle picture, and in the lower right hand with the beard and the white vest on. And he was kind of the inventor of Liquid Light Show, and there's his Liquid Light DVD you can buy, Bill Ham light painting. And here he is playing at the Avalon with the Grateful Dead, and it's Bill Ham Light Show. You can see the Frankenstein poster. Now, I went over and met him in 91 because I had become kind of the national light show, international light show guy with the Allman Brothers traveling around the world. And I ended up, I was invited to hang out with Bill. I went to his house and on Pine Street, where a lot of the original psychedelic stuff started back in the day. And I was like, oh yeah, man, you know, the Brotherhood of Light and Headlights, Holy See, and all these light show companies that I've seen on posters, and I bought the Brotherhood of Light company. And he was like, well, I wasn't interested in any getting famous or doing any of that. I just wanted to work with these jazz musicians, and I wanted to get equal pay to them. So he put on an event and wanted to get equal pay. And he didn't really dig doing the big rock concerts for Bill Graham that much, because he only lasted like a year and a half, 2 years, and he went on to be a union guy working at Moscone Center. But he continued to do his art and make art and sell it, as you can see with these DVDs. So, you know, he is the pioneer, and he's got a little bit different style than the Brotherhood of Light, but everybody's got their own style in this business. So here's the Grateful Dead. They're still living in 710. There's Mountain Girl and Jerry sitting on the steps. There's the whole band over here on the left with Danny Rifkin and Rock Scully. And that was the two managers. And there they are doing a promo shot up in Daly City with the kind of alien Grateful Dead suburban street thing going. And there they are in San Francisco, kind of hanging out on the street, the background. And there they are at the Haight-Ashbury sign all together, the original five. And then there's some kind of weird promo shot where they're holding these brooms here. I have no idea what that concept is, but this is them in 67 in Haight-Ashbury. This is 710 period. I think the top left shot, they're in LA, and the rest of the shots were shot by Ron Racco, and they've just come up recently on the internet, and they're color, which are hard to find back in 1967. So there's the Grateful Dead. I think Rosie McGee is on the left. I think you've got Yorma and Paul Kantner hanging out on the left there with them. And so it's pretty cool stuff. Might be Robert Hunter down on the bottom next to Weir, but anyway. And then there's the famous close-up of them out of the Panhandle, which was our cover with Phil and Jerry and Pigpen and Janice and Marty Ballin and Grace Slick, and so Bob Weir, drummer, Getz from Big Brother, Jack Cassidy with the American flag hat. So that's a really cool shot. So here's the Panhandle, Golden Gate Park, 1967. So they would go straight down from Haight and set up right there. It's a thin area of grass with trees kind of shooting out from Golden Gate Park. They call it the Panhandle because it looks like it on a map. And there they are playing. And the one on the right, this lower corner one, is you see Chet Helms, a promoter, in the middle with the long blonde hair. And then you can see Phil playing up there on the right. And there they are. You can see the bathroom at the Panhandle. And then the one in the middle above me, I believe, is Speedway Meadows playing on a flatbed truck. And then we've got Jimi Hendrix played at the Panhandle right after Monterey. So that's really a cool shot too. So anyway, that's the Panhandle free concert in Golden Gate Park. So here they are in LA recording their first album. And this is in 1967 also. And it was released that spring. And there's Rock Scully sitting next to Weir. And I think the engineer's Hessinger is his name. And they're all pointing at him. And so there they are in the studio recording the first album. So as the story goes, in 1967, the Haight-Ashbury got overrun because of all the national press. And in 1968, they were able to talk the city into letting them have these street parties. And the March of 1968, they pulled up in their flatbed truck and played illegally a concert on Haight Street, and they got the power from the Straight Theater, which is on the left with the marquee there. And that was basically the end of the Grateful Dead in San Francisco. They moved out and moved to Marin County, but this is their farewell concert, and it was just a classic. So now it's 1968. They've got an additional member, the guy up in the top right-hand corner and the bottom left, Mickey Hart. So now they have two drummers, and they're embarking on recording their second album called Anthem of the Sun. And this is the lineup. So it's 1968. This upper shot above me is a picture of them up in Seattle on a tour they did. And then the shot on the right is in the band shell in Golden Gate Park, where they played another legendary concert and blew a lot of people's minds. Heard reports that it was fantastic with the Tool drummers in 1968, San Francisco. So they've now got another member, Tom Constantine. He's on the left here. And there is the 68 band on the right. And this is kind of a 68, 69 band that produced the third album, Oxa Moxa. And so there they are. Jerry's got the beard now. So 1968, 1969, they're living in Marin County. They went back to Olin Poly to do a photo session, as you can see on the left, and that's the six-piece band. And then there's the back of the album cover, and then this is a shot Rosie McKee took on the right here for the interior of Live Dead, their album that came out late in 69. And then there is Jerry playing at Playboy After Dark, and he's singing Mountains of the Moon, which was on television, the Playboy show with Hugh Hefner. So they're getting quite a reputation as a great live jam band. And Osley got put in jail for a while. Now he's sprung in 69, 70. And Garcia gets the cover of the Rolling Stone, and the good old Grateful Dead are sort of on the map nationally. They're really popular in New York, and of course they're popular in San Francisco. They don't sell a million albums, but they do sell out a lot of concerts. And they're really jamming hard in this progressive style in 1969. They've kind of developed their sound at this point with the Anthem of the Sun and Oxa Moxa. So now they're still in Marin County, 68, 69. They're touring all over the country. Osley's doing sound. There he is with Jerry. And they're playing the Fillmore East. They're playing Winterland. They're playing the Fillmore West. And they're doing a lot of shows that year. And So there they are doing a bunch of live shows, and they're about to change their sound. So Garcia has joined up with a band called New Riders of the Purple Shades with John Dawson, who's in the center. And there they are on the left, New Riders. And I guess Mickey Hart was a drummer for a while. And then they're on tour on the Festival Express, which is a movie with the band and New Riders and Janis Joplin, and they're on a train going across Canada, and there they are partying and jamming in the bar car, having a good old time, which is a fun movie to check out if you ever get an opportunity. And that's came out in 1970, or they did that tour in 1970. So now we're out of the 60s into the 70s. So here's a picture on the left. Mickey Hart has left the band, and this is the Skullface album insert. And then up on the right here is they've got a new keyboard player, and Pigpen is looking thin, and that's them embarking on their Europe 72 tour. And the shop below, and this Keith Goucha on keyboard, piano mainly played. And there's the crew with Rex and Parrish and Kid Camilleri, and I think Betty Kantner's there on the left. And so anyway, that's their crew. They're in the van, and I just want to, got to give them respect, because they worked their ass off touring with these guys. And so anyway, oh yeah, and there's that's the crew shot, so we got to have that in there. So in 1970 they released these two records in 71, Working Man's Dad and American Beauty, and they kind of, I call it Americana. A lot of people call it Cowboy Dad, but I call it Americana music. And there's Robert Hunter on the left next to Bob Weir. And I think Rosie McGee took these photos of them up in Nevada on horses. And so, they kind of have, they're changing their look and their attitude a little bit, being more Americana. And once again, this 1970s, Marin County, where they moved and they got their headquarters. So here's a really cool photograph of the band, and most of the band members are in there, most of the crew members are in there, and their families in there, and it's really cool. The only thing is, I don't think Phil Lesh is in here. I don't think Rex is in here. Anyway, maybe I don't even see Steve Parrish, but maybe he's in there. I'm going to leave this one up on the screen for a while so you guys can take a look at it and figure out if you know who all these people are. There's Rock in the very center with his daughter, and Nikki Scully. So, and there's Jerry in the center. So, I'll just leave it up to you guys to figure out who's in this shot, but I thought it was a cool shot. It might be taken on Front Street, which was down in San Rafael. It's probably taken somewhere in San Rafael, I guarantee you that much. And somebody might know and leave something in comments if they want or whatever. So anyway, that's basically the show. I'm going to finish it off, sign off, subscribe to Brotherhood of Light if you, YouTube channel, Brotherhood of Light Show Current YouTube channel if you want. And I'm going to be doing some other shows with some other networks. Sea of Tranquility, I'm doing some stuff coming up, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to keep doing my once a month late 60s, early 70s rock and roll show with slideshows. So enjoy. We'll see you signing off.